It's Game 4, and the big difference as I see it from 2 years ago is that while the two teams are tied at 1 win and 1 loss and 1 tie apiece, there's a far different attitude amongst the fans here in Vancouver. So far, at least, there is not a sign of hostility. And you can attribute this to the first 2 games, but most particularly the comeback by Team Canada in Winnipeg on Saturday. We'll be able to tell you more as I see Don Chevrier and Howie Meeker are all set inside the arena to bring you the play-by-play and the color commentary of this 4th game. Okay, Don.
All right, Johnny, and Howie, tonight the Team Canada lineup is going to be just about the same as it was in that victory in Toronto, except that Marty Howe makes it 3 Howes in this game tonight.
That should be interesting, but after tonight, Don, we lose home ice advantage. Some of our big-name scorers haven't really hit the score sheet yet, so tonight's the night. And if Team Canada comes out checking, got to have another dandy goal.
All right, let's go to our co-host now tonight, Bill Good Jr.
Hello, everyone. Well, the interest has really peaked here in Vancouver since the first game in Quebec City. 16,000 people are expected to be in the arena. People were waiting overnight for tickets here, and the Pacific Coliseum is completely sold out. And I'll be traveling between the first and second periods and the intermissions, and we'll talk to as many of these fans in Vancouver as we can. John?
We're just moments away from the colorful introductions and the face-off for the halfway mark in the 8-game series. This is Game 4 of the Soviet-Canada series from Vancouver.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 4th game of the series between the national team of USSR and Team Canada 74. Bonsoir, mesdames, messieurs, et bienvenue à cette 4e partie de la série de 8 entre l'équipe nationale de l'Union soviétique et l'équipe Canada 74. Voici maintenant l'alignement des 2 équipes pour la rencontre de ce soir. En tout premier lieu, celui de l'Union soviétique. L'entraîneur-chef, the head coach, Boris Kulagin. Et ses adjoints et assistants, Konstantin Loktev et Vladimir Urzinov. Le numéro 13, le capitaine Boris Mikhailov. Le numéro 1, Alexander Sidelnikov. Le numéro 2, Alexander Gusev. Le numéro 3, Vladimir Luchenko. Le numéro 5, Yuri Lapkin. Le numéro 6, Valery Vassiliev. Le numéro 7, Gennady Tsigankov. Le numéro 9, Alexander Volchkov. Le numéro 10, Alexander Maltsev. Le numéro 11, Yuri Lebedev. Le numéro 12, Viktor Kuznetsov. Le numéro 16, Vladimir Petrov. Le numéro 19, Vladimir Chadrin. Le numéro 22, Vyacheslav Anisin. Le numéro 24, Alexander Bodunov. Le numéro 27, Alexander Sapilkin. Le numéro 30, Konstantin Klimov. Le numéro 17, Valery Arlamov. Le numéro 20, Vladislav Tretiak. Et le numéro 15, Alexander Yakushev. For Team Canada 74, would you please welcome Coach Billy Harris, and General Manager Bill Hunter. And now, here is Team Canada. Number 30, Jerry Cheevers. Number 1, Don McLeod. On defense, Number 3, Jean-Claude Tremblay. Number 12, Pat Stapleton. Number 18, Paul Schmier. Number 2, Rick Lee. Number 17, Rick Smith. Number 10, Marty Howe. The forwards, number 14, Ralph Backstrom. Number 11, Mark Howe. Number 7, André Lacroix. Number 23, Johnny McKenzie. Number 4, Mike Walton. Number 20, Bruce McGregor. Number 19, Paul Anderson. Number 21, Serge Bernier. Number 5, Régent Houle. Number 27, Frank Mahovlich. Number 16, Bobby Hall. And number 9, Gordie Howe. Mesdames, Messieurs, voulez-vous vous lever pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux de l'Union soviétique et du Canada? Please stand for the national anthems. The Canadian Amateur Hockey Association.
Traditionally, in each game, the players will exchange gifts. In the Canadian leg of the series, the Canadian team will present the Soviets with gifts. And the other way around, of course, it'll be the Russians giving Canada gifts overseas. Here's what the Russians receive: the pennant, commemorating the series, plus a sterling silver pin and a gold ring for each of the Soviet players, the gifts from Team Canada 1974. This is Game 4 of the Canada-Soviet series from Vancouver.
All the officials are going now in center ice for the official face-off. As a memento of this occasion, and as an indication of the support all Canada gives to the Garibaldi bid for 1980 Winter Olympics, Nancy Green-Rain will present mounted pucks to the official party. En guise de souvenir de cet événement, Nancy Green-Rain remettra aux dignitaires une rondelle portant l'effigie de Équipe Canada 74.
Well, Paul Henderson showed flashes of his great form of 1972 in Winnipeg, Howie, when he got those 2 late goals in the third period Saturday.
Well, he's now a member of the Toronto Toros, and he was a hero of that 72 series. He's had many good scoring opportunities, and he could win this series again for Team Canada.
A new member of the Edmonton Oilers is number 20, Bruce McGregor, formerly of the New York Rangers.
He's a great up-and-down hockey player, a come-from-behind hockey player, and a good checker. That's just about the right formula for international competition, and when you need a big goal, he'll get the chance.
And, of course, sore ribs and all, number 9, Gordie Howe is back tonight.
Well, what can you say about Big Gordie? He's hockey's greatest superstar. I think he realizes the dream tonight, playing with his 2 talented sons, Mark and Marty, and I'd look for him to put on quite a show.
Another guy having a great series is this man right here, number 16 for the Soviets, Vladimir Petrov.
He's a real strong skater. They use this gentleman here on the power play and to kill penalties, and I think he's their toughest hockey player. He's real good with the stick, and you watch him when he just loses the puck or evades a check. Watch what he does with the stick. He's a handyman.
And how about this guy, number 15, the leader of the Soviet team, Alexander Yakashev, who through 11 games against Canada, 72 and 74, has 11 goals, and that's consistency, and he was dynamite in Winnipeg on Saturday as well, Yakashev. Of course, there's Valery Harlamov, number 17, and you say the Soviets don't have a star system. Well, that was broken here in Canada because they agreed to allow their top players, in the judgment of the fans in Canada, to be introduced last of all, and they got rousing ovations along with members of Team Canada 1974. So we're just about set to go for Game 4 of a tremendous international hockey series here at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. The referee, the Pecky of Poland, Doug Robb and Valentin Nikoltsev, the linesman, and the Soviets move it down the ice off the opening faceoff on the stick of J.C. Tremblay. A hit for Gordie Howe, broken up by Harlamov, a shot right off the bat, high over top of the goal and out of play. Face-off is going to come outside the Canadian blue line. Jerry Cheevers is back in goal, having given way to Don McLeod on Saturday. Backstrom is starting at center with Gordie Howe on the right side and Mark Howe on the left side. Marty Howe in defense with J.C. Tremblay. The Howe family realizing a lifelong dream, finally on the ice together against the Soviet Union. And this is J.C. Tremblay, number 3. Swings away from Mihailov, feeds Gordie Howe offside at the Soviet blue line. A 3-3 tie in Quebec, a 4-1 Team Canada win in Toronto, and an 8-5 Soviet victory Saturday in Winnipeg brings us to this point here in Vancouver tonight. Petrov on the face-off against the veteran Ralph Backstrom. To Gordie Howe, too far for Backstrom. Now it's over on the stick of Valery Harlamov, number 17. Howe checking him, swings away inside the Team Canada line. His pass to an open wing goes back outside the blue line. Vasilyev takes over. Gets it back to Harlamov as the Soviets control the early seconds of play. Harlamov being challenged and checked by Marty Howe. Into the corner is number 11, Mark Howe, the 19-year-old sensation of the 72 U.S. Olympic team. They battle there. It's on the stick now of Ralph Backstrom. Backstrom being watched by Petrov, to Howe, to Tremblay, hounded by Mihailov, number 13. Canadians again, as in Winnipeg, having trouble clearing. Here is Mihailov, right at the doorstep of Cheevers, turned away, and a stiff check from Gordie Howe. That's Mihailov reeling. J.C. Tremblay simply plays it ahead of the Soviet line. All Soviets so far in the first 90 seconds, and now Billy Harris makes changes as they go. Gordie Howe is still out there. Here is Yakushev with Shadrin. Turned around, a weak backhand shot to Cheevers. He'll hold on as Team Canada regroups for the face-off. They've played a minute and 39 seconds. It's been all Soviets, Howie.
Certainly a completely different start. Gordie Howe took 2 or 3 of the Russians. His son Mark had a good shot at one, and I think he just sparked this club right now, and we'll see if they follow on to finish the check.
Lacroix wins the face-off for Team Canada to Captain Pat Stapleton, and now Johnny McKenzie. McKenzie across to Bobby Hull. Lacroix leaves it for Hull at center ice. For McKenzie, broken up. Lacroix lost it finally. The Soviets in the center ice area with Hull to Lacroix. Closing in, a pass right in front. Oh, McKenzie relay went wide. Lacroix on the far side in front for Johnny McKenzie. Could not get to it. McKenzie for Bobby Hull. Tipped away from Hull. The Soviets come out 2-on-2. Lebedev, Shadrin, now Yakushev, and Hull breaks that play up. This is Sigankov, number 7 for the USSR. McKenzie gets a piece of him. The pass to Yakushev. Lebedev shooting. Cheevers with a save. Jerry Cheevers, some steady work in the early minutes of Game 4. They've played 2.5 minutes now. Here's Lebedev's shot and Cheevers' save.
Just a great 2-on-1 situation. Look at how the Russians here form a 2-on-1, a good shot and a good save. There was lots of room for that to go in.
They challenge you. Paul Schmier in trouble in front of his goal. Finally gets it in behind. The Soviets still have it, though. Still inside that blue line. Bodanov, number 24, with it. Maltsev cruising in there. Can't get the pass to him. Back comes number 19, Paul Henderson. With Walton. Long shot over top. Bouncing out for Walton. Tipped back to the point. And out to center ice for Paul Schmier. He's checked by Anisin, number 22. Anisin wins it. Waiting for a pass out. 2 Cheevers around the back of the goal. The Soviets, Maltsev to Bodanov to Anisin. He fans once. Second chance. Over to Maltsev. All around the goal. And Cheevers hangs on. Soviets being kept off balance this time. Team Canada getting pieces of them, but it's been all USSR inside the Team Canada blue line.
Just watch here the number of times that Team Canada players are fishing for the puck, and the Russians continually come up with it. We're just not taking the man, we're blocking the shot, and finally Cheevers does come up with the loose puck.
All right, from the face-off, this is Paul Schmier. Relay from Henderson. Too far for Mike Walton. Number 2 is Alexander Gusev, perhaps the Soviets' top defenseman. To Harlamo. Schmier against Harlamo. The puck comes to Rick Smith, number 17, but held in by Vasiliev, number 6. Right point, winding up, he scores! Screened all the way was Jerry Cheevers on that goal from the point by Vasiliev.
Right here, you'll see the Canadian player go out, anticipate a pass. Nobody goes near him. He just slides it right along the ice, and it goes underneath Cheevers' pads. I think he was pretty well screened down that.
With the score of the Soviets 1 and Canada nothing, this is Game 4 from Vancouver. That Soviet goal at 3:34 scored by Vasiliev from Harlamov. And here's the face-off. The Soviets again, forward inside the Team Canada blue line. Tipped by Bernier, back to the Soviet zone. Now a 2-on-2 break. Here is Harlamov against J.C. Tremblay. Closing in, a save, rebound. Cleared off to the far side by Marty Howe. Back comes Serge Bernier with Rejean Houle. Drop pass for Houle, and Bernier fell in front of him. They lost the chance in the corner. Harlamov as the Soviets come back. At the Team Canada blue line with Mihailov inside, behind the goal, centers it out in front. Oh, and Cheevers just got the stick on it as the puck lazily rolled toward the post.
An interesting aspect of the Russians' attack. You can watch it right here. Now look at, they pass the puck out the side, they go in. Timon, look at 13. He's reading the play already. In Canadian hockey, we more or less go around behind the net and pass out from the other side, but they do this time and time again and read each other moves so well.
Shadrin on the face-off. Pat Stapleton comes up with it. Moving up the right side for Team Canada. Center ice area. Relay for Gordie Howe. Howe shoots, he scores!
A great pass, but look at the burst of speed. He gets this pass here, and where does he put it? Right upstairs. Look how far Tretiak was out, yet he tucked it in up in high. Now watch big number 9 explode when he gets this pass. Look at him. Right here, 2 strides, puts his body in front of the check and throws it high. Beautiful, beautiful goal.
Gordie Howe makes it 1-1 at the 4:20 mark of period 1. And now, in behind the goal is Ricky Lee for Ralph Backstrom, and now to Pat Stapleton. A brilliant goal by number 9. Luchenko ahead at center ice for Shadrin with Lebedev and Yakushev. The pass behind Shadrin. Falling on the play. Now they carry on as Team Canada is holding back, waiting for the Soviets to attack inside the blue line. Down the left boards, taken down was number 11, Lebedev. Now Stapleton breaks out. On the right side with Marty Howe. Gordie trailing in behind. They finally call it an offside pass. He'll bring it back inside the Team Canada line.
Assist to number 12, Pat Stapleton. And to number 14, Ralph Backstrom. The time, 4:20.
4:20 the time. Gordie Howe from Stapleton and Backstrom. And Howe is cut above the eye. He's being treated now at the Team Canada bench. Up the right board, Johnny McKenzie to Andre Lacroix. And back to McKenzie in a 1-1 game. Barely 5 minutes old here in Vancouver. Here is Maltsev. Far side for Anisin. There's going to be a delayed penalty here. In the corner, Paul Schmier ties it up. And the penalty appears to be against Team Canada. The first penalty of Game 4. They got 5 in a row. It's Johnny McKenzie. 5 in a row in Winnipeg before one was called against the Soviets on Saturday. And that was a double penalty when it came.
Well, certainly in this instance, I would think Team Canada got away with 3 borderline infractions, and that one there was just so blatant that the referee had to call it.
Referee is Waldo Sepecki of Poland. Time of the penalty was 5:24 against Johnny McKenzie of Team Canada, and the Soviet power play goes into action. Stapleton being watched by Bodanov. In behind the goal, swings away from 2 Soviet players, now a third and down the ice. Tretiak, the brilliant Soviet goaltender, leads it to Vladimir Luchenko. Ahead now to Alexander Maltsev. Bodanov. Lost control, gets it again, but it's offside because he trapped Anisin on the right wing. They'll face off outside the Team Canada blue line. Score 1-1, and here's Gordie Howe. You see that slight cut above the eye, a souvenir from a Soviet stick, which came just after he scored that equalizing goal. Valery Harlamov with Petrov and Mikhailov inside the line. Left point for Gusev. His shot almost deflected, but he goes wide. Relay in front. They score to make it 2-1. A lightning fast pass out, and Mikhailov got his stick on it, I believe, to put it in and send the Soviets on top again. Let's watch.
Well, here, just a real alert play. JC goes into the corner. Pat doesn't move across quick enough, and it's in the net.
Number 13, Boris
Here it
Mikhailov.
comes again. You just can't give the Russians that much room.
Soviet players allowed to remain on their feet in front of that goal, and it's costing Team Canada.
Time 5:59.
5:59, Mikhailov from Petrov. 2-1, USSR now. Team Canada still having difficulty inside their blue line, as they did in Winnipeg on Saturday. The Soviets have the edge in score and play at this point. Early in period 1 of Game 4, Walton's soft shot going to Tretiak's doorstep. Now this is Vasiliev being hounded there by Bruce McGregor. They tie up in the corner. The puck comes loose back for Paul Schmier. Schmier, deflection by McGregor. Tretiak had to move fast on that one. Vasiliev against Paul Henderson. Now Petrov joins in. There'll be a face-off. .13:25 to play here in period one. The USSR leading Team Canada 2-1 in Vancouver. Henderson, Walton, McGregor out there. Walton won it. Down went Henderson. Back comes Yakushev. 1-on-2. He's alone right now, waiting for help from Shadrin. Works it inside the blue line. Right corner taken out by Paul Schmier. Round to the open side. Lebedev was bumped. Luchenko's pass to Yakushev, broken up by Schmier. He's played well in this series, Paul Schmier of the Cleveland Crusaders. And down the ice it goes behind Tretiak. Luchenko. Lebedev. Yakushev lost his helmet and the puck. Marty Howe missed a check on Lebedev. Back from the Canadians. Mike Walton inside the line. It is offside. On the perfect setup to Frank Mahavlich, offside. Crowd here not very happy about the call. Let's try to catch it.
You watch right here, you'll find a good pass here to Mahavlich. He would have been home free, just a little bit behind him. It was an offside call, but gee whiz, I don't think it was.
Unless it was Mahavlich out of the range of our camera on that shot, but it was awfully close between the first two players going in. Now here is Anisin for the Soviet Union. Goes back to the stick of the great shot there. Quick shot. Deflected wide. Mahavlich for Bernier. Oh, he skated off the puck, gets it again, shoots. Rebound from Hull right in front, and Tretiak holds it. Vladislav Tretiak.
Here's a great hockey player, Yakushev, but this is the only way to take him out. Paul Schmier gets in front of him and just makes a real good check. If you can keep on the offensive side of that fella, you have a chance. But boy, some hockey players.
They weren't doing that on Saturday. Mahavlich lost a chance. The Soviets tip it out to center ice. This is Anisin, number 22, with Maltsev trailing a backhand shot, stopped by Cheevers. Then he'll hold it as number 10, Maltsev, the Soviet veteran, came cruising in. Of the 9 shots the Soviets have taken in the direction of the Team Canada goals, 7 have been on the net, and 2 have gone in. They lead 2-1 with 12:15 to play here in the opening period. As Serge Bernier skates to the bench, line change with Backstrom now centering. Gordie Howe and Markow. This is Markow, number 11, against Mihailov. Petrov wins the puck. Stapleton checks in. Stapleton starting out the right side, a pass to Ricky Lee. Gets it ahead to Gordie Howe, Canada's only goal scorer so far in the game, but now it is Petrov and a piece of him taken by Mark Howe. Here's Backstrom with Gordie Howe. Swings in behind the Soviet goal, ridden off there by number 2, Gusev. Gusev played him well. Tipped to the other corner now. The Soviets under pressure at this point. Here's Ricky Lee. Shoots to the other corner. Gusev there. Ahead to Petrov, and finally the Soviets get it out to the Team Canada blue line. 11 minutes and 25 seconds to play in the first period. 2-1 for the Soviet Union. Backstrom's pass did not reach number 11, Markow. Harlamov almost gave it away to Backstrom in there. The Soviets recover. Backstrom being interfered with. There's no penalty on the play. Play goes right on. Mihailov to Vasiliev. He's bumped. And they lose the puck. Back to center ice again. Gordie Howe was taken down by Vasiliev. There's a whistle. And I believe a offside call is all it is. Has to be a penalty indication from the Polish referee, Waldo Stepecki, but it's offside. The goal scorers, Vasiliev and Mihailov for the USSR and Gordie Howe for Canada. There it is, 2-1 for the Soviets. Number 7, Gennady Sagankov shoots it down the ice. This should be icing. It is. took those 2 penalties that hurt Team Canada in the first game, has played extremely well ever since. Been a starter in all 4 games. Shadrin on the face-off, lost it. Shot goes wide. McKenzie alone on the right side, passing it across the goal mouth. Nobody there, and now Lebedev golfs it out to center ice. Rick Smith, number 17, to McKenzie. Now Schmier into the slot to LaCroix. He could not hang on. Lebedev goes off Yakushev's skate. Finally, Schmier takes over. Number 18 to Rick Smith, his defense partner. Soviets again forechecking very, very well here in game 4. Hull lost balance down the left side. Now Lebedev, Team Canada blue line, inside with Shadrin, checked there by Schmier. He leaves it for number 16, Bobby Hull. To McKenzie. Schmier dumps it across for McKenzie, picked off by Yakushev. Play unsettled now in the center ice section of the Vancouver Pacific Coliseum. 2-1 to the Soviet Union. Smith offside, 2 lines to pass to Bobby Hull. The leading point getters in this series for Canada, Hull and Lacroix with 5 each. For the USSR, Yakushev and Petrov with 4 apiece. 9:54 remaining in period 1. Bobby Hull at the Team Canada bench as they send out the Mike Walton line with Henderson on his left and McGregor on his right. Defense pair, Howe and Tremblay. Anisin with Maltsev and Voronov for the USSR. Center ice pass broken up by Paul Henderson. Wrong wing, comes down, shoots, and Tretiak just got a piece of that one. Maltsev, open wing pass. Catching up now is Voronov. They did not call the outside pass. Voronov around behind the Team Canada goal. In front for Maltsev. He was checked by the stick of Gary Cheever. Maltsev back on the left point for Luchenko. Winding. Oh, the deflection just went wide from Maltsev. Pressure again by the Soviet Union inside the Team Canada zone. Voronov to Anisin. Finally, McGregor comes up with it. Gets out to center ice with a pass to Mike Walton. Walton scoops it down. Gets away from Luchenko. Kuznetsov, number 12, met hard there in the corner by Paul Henderson, and they'll face off as they freeze the puck. 8:59 to play here in period 1. What life Henderson gave to Team Canada Saturday. When they trailed so badly, he scored those 2 fast goals, and just for a moment, we thought they might come back. The Soviets won at 8-5 and lead now in game 4, 2-1, with less than 9 to play in the opening period. Ricky Lee now pairs with Pat Stapleton. Back to Frank Mahavlich. Shot goes wide. Gusev against Brejanhoul. Bernier goes in after it. They bump there. Harleman against Houle. Houle wins the puck. Then it was checked from behind by Harleman. Good two-way player, this Valery Harlamov, number 17. Bernier feeds it back to Ricky Lee. Then up to Brejanhoul and to Bernier. And the Soviet line against Gusev. Takes a swat at him. Goes into the corner, centers it back. Stapleton's shot is blocked. Here's a break. Cheevers gets back into his net in a hurry. Offside pass is called on the pass to Harlamov as Cheevers was a good 25 feet out of the Team Canada net as the break came back down ice. With the score, the USSR Canada won. This is game 4 from Vancouver. Gusev got a penalty on this play against Bernier for slashing. There it is.
And the initial play, Don, with Bernier, gave him a pretty good punch in the shoulder to instigate it all.
That's the first Soviet penalty of the game. The Team Canada power play as Bernier, Mahavlich, and Houle, Bobby Hull, and Paul Schmier. Hull moves it up. Bernier did not quite stay onside the officials' rule. They'll face off outside the Soviet line. No doubt that Bobby Hull, number 16, which, by the way, is his original number in pro hockey, is the offensive leader, the overall leader of Team Canada 74. Batted back to Schmier and over to Bobby Hull. Now Schmier with Houle inside the line. Houle getting away from Petrov, then lost his balance. It's chopped back to center ice for the Soviets. Bobby Hull to Frank Mahavlich. around Vasiliev. Closing into the pass for Hull. Behind him, he couldn't take it. And the Soviets clear down to Jerry Cheever. A minute and 20 seconds left in Gusev's penalty. Here's Bernier. For Hull. Tried to swing it out, couldn't get it past Vasiliev. So far, the power play is struggling. Here's Schmier, winding up for the shot wide. Rejan Hull. Bobby Hull. Score!
Hull is the fella here, just great persistence. He beat the Soviet team to the puck in the corner, laid it right on Bobby Hull's stick. Now watch Hull. Well, this is the second time he brought it out of the corner. There's no way they're going to allow Bobby Hull to stand free out there and get that shot away, or they're going to be in trouble.
Scored by number 16, Bobby Hull.
That is Hull's fourth
Assist to
goal
number
of the
27,
series.
Frank
Mahabalich got the assist. The time is 12:45 of period one. It's 2-all, and now here's Ralph Backstrom waiting for his chance. Gets it. Rebound. All around the goal, and finally cleared by number 19, Shadrin to Yakushev. Yakushev, right side for Lebedev. Shadrin back to Segenkov. Segenkov with Yakushev. Right side, and he couldn't get the pass away, and a check by Howe. Shadrin to an open wing. Team Canada finally recovers with J.C. Tremblay out for Gordie Howe. He lost it to Yakushev. Yakushev, a check from Backstrom. It gets ahead to Lebedev. Hard check there from Marty Howe. And it goes out to center ice. 6 minutes, 15 seconds to play, and the first period is 2-all. Number 19 is Shadrin. Down he goes against Markov, and Segenkov has it. Segenkov for Bochkov, away from Howe. Lost the puck to Tremblay in behind the goal. Tremblay feeds it for Johnny McKenzie. Ahead for Andre Lacroix. McKenzie bumping there with Yakushev. Now McKenzie again. Left side for Bobby Howe, getting set. Shooting, oh, and he went wide. Blistering drive from number 16, Hull. Stapleton to Bobby Hull again. Scores!
Just a great pass to Howe, cutting into behind the defense, and look again where he put it. You got Tretiak coming out, down, but he popped it into the top left-hand corner. Now look at, this has been set up by the Howes. The last 5 minutes, the Howes have been just taking dead set aim at every white sweater out there, Mark in particular, and Marty back in defense. Time and time again, they've taken them.
That is Bobby Hull's second goal in the past minute and 6 seconds. His fifth of the series, and Team Canada leads 3-2. Right now, Bobby Hull has got a lot of admirers across the country at large.
Scored by number 16, Bobby Hull.
From the face-off, back inside that Soviet zone.
To number 12.
The Russians appear unsettled now. Stapleton gets the assist. 15-11 is the time. Number 9 is Alexander Bochkov inside the Team Canada blue line. Being watched there by Henderson, who cleared. About 4.5 minutes to play in the first period. 3-2 for Canada. Kuznetsov back to Lutsenko, now to Bochkov. To Anison, inside the line from Maltsev. Maltsev closing in, a backhand shot. The rebound comes out, recovered by Mike Walton. Walton to Paul Henderson. Now to rookie Lee. Down the right board. Lee against Lutsenko. Centers it. Batted by Tretiak. Still loose for McGregor. Can't control the puck. Finally checked by Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov across to Anison. Canadian line. Maltsev cruising. Shot partially blocked. Goes in behind. Cheevers has it. face-off with 3:39 to play in the first period.
John, if Team Canada can get everybody on the ice, just taking the man and taking the man, you begin to see chinks in the Russian armor. They're looking, they're fumbling the puck, and they're not making the great passing plays without first taking a look.
Face-off coming up. Our game recorder says Canada's won 17 of the 21 face-offs so far, make it 18. Bernier wins the draw there. The Soviets keep it inside the line. Mihailov waiting, getting it back to Petrov. He shoots, deflected by Jerry Cheevers in behind. Got his stick on it. Now on the right boards, Rezhan Houle being challenged by Petrov. Houle at center ice. Lost it to Petrov. Swings inside the Team Canada line. Leaving it for Harlamov. Harlamov against Frank Mahavlich, and they'll tie it up.
Before anyone jumps on that official, I just think he's calling a great game. He's letting them play hockey. He's letting a lot of borderline things go on both sides, and he's not spoiling a whale of a first period. By far the best we've had.
Great end-to-end action here in the Vancouver Pacific Coliseum. Here is Petrov shooting it into the crowd. 3 minutes and 2 seconds left on the clock. Billy Harris, who's done just a tremendous job of putting this team together. His philosophy, his approach, his entire dedication to the project are largely responsible for the way the series stands now at a game each with a tie. Now here is Rick Smith. Out to the big end. Across to Houle. Inside the Soviet zone. Rezhan Houle stopping in front. Mahavlich scores! And it's 4-2.
Watch this great play by Houle. He stopped and waited. Didn't panic. Wide play coming in and looking. Upstairs. That's the key again. A great play by Houle. His second outstanding play. Right come late. That's a Mahavlich goal all the way.
Well, it's been superstar night in Vancouver. 2 by Hull, 1 by Howe, and now 1 by Frank Mahavlich.
Assist to number 5, Rezhan Houle. And number 21, Serge Bernier.
Houle and Bernier get the assist.
Time 17-10.
That time is 17-10 at period 1, and Team Canada leads the USSR national team 4-2 here in Vancouver. Yakushev, bumped by Backstrom. Shadrin takes over. Right side relay broken up for Lebedev. Gordie Howe with Backstrom and Markow on the ice. Howe runs into Lebedev, and Backstrom has it. Clears to Gordie Howe. Howe 1-on-2 inside the line. Lost it. Turns Yakushev around. Gets it again. There's an offside call. They'll face off outside the blue line.
I think you just have to watch these, Howe. Time and time again. There are the fellas. There's the Grand Master, but he's got 2 sons out there that are showing the older fellas how to take the man. They might be as finesse hockey players as that gentleman right there.
Yakushev paid the price on the check from Howe. He limped off to the Soviet bench.
He can consider himself lucky he was able to limp off.
Against Gordie Howe, you're probably very right. 2:17 left in the opening period. Canada leads 4-2. What a comeback. Twice behind and now ahead by a pair of goals. 2:17 on the clock as Bobby Hull confers with the timekeeper. There it is. From the face-off, McClaw breaks in. Across the Hull, hat-trick! They're going crazy in Vancouver. And I'm sure across the country, too.
You got to watch this. Just dead center pass by Lacroix. Perfect. But watch the speed in which Bobby Hull gets it away. Just on the toe of the stick. Now watch Lacroix hang on to it. He's looking for Hull. Look at that little snapshot. And where did it go? Hey, it took us 3 games to learn something. But oh, just perfect. Watch it again. On and up.
Bobby Howe kept the puck, his first international hat trick, all in the first period. Lacroix gets the assist. 17:49. Puck goes into the crowd. There'll be a face-off. How about that for a first period for number 16?
The period still belongs to the Howes. I think they swung it around in one shift. Just two grand performances by probably the biggest names in hockey today, the Hulls and the Howes.
That guy Lacroix could be named the #1 star of any of these games, Howie, the way he's played. Down the right side, Mihailov inside the Team Canada line. Tries to get a pass to Petrov, it's broken up. Lacroix chasing against Gusev with McKenzie. Gusev backs up on the stick of Bobby Hull. Now to Ricky Lee. Lee holds it against the board. Gives it away to Harlamov. Harlamov 1-on-2, shooting wide. Vasilyev is back to center ice. With about 1:44, the clock is stopped right now. And it's stopped officially on that whistle. They'll bring it back to center ice. McKenzie fencing in there with a Soviet player. Doug Robb from Bolton, Ontario, Valentin Nikoletsev of Russia, and Waldo Sapecki of Poland, the officials in this game, as McKenzie complains very vigorously about the actions of a Soviet player out there. Billy Harris promptly makes a change. They come to the bench. McKenzie might have been nicked on that play with a stick. That's probably what he was complaining about. 44 seconds the clock shows now. They've had some trouble with it, so we'll tell you that's strictly unofficial. 1:28, so ignore that. We're told there's 1:28 left now. 5-2 for Canada, first period. Schmier plays it down behind the Soviet goal. Gusev all the way down the ice. They'll be called for icing. If I'm not mistaken, the score of the game in Vancouver in '72 was 5-2 for the Soviets. It is now 5-2 for Team Canada. And the Vancouver fans, believe me, have had nothing to boo about tonight, as they did in 1972 when the Canadians lost here quite decisively. Mike Walton on the faceoff with McGregor and Henderson. Henderson could not gain control. It swatted ahead to center ice. Now Schmier flips a backhander, rolls to the Soviet corner for Gusev. Gusev around the boards for Vasilyev. Ahead on the right side. This is number 16, Petrov. The long drive is wide. 1 minute left now in period one. Around behind Jerry Sievers. Petrov and Schmier bumping there. Henderson will help out. They'll force a face-off. "50 seconds, we're told, of official playing time remaining in the opening period. Boris Kulagin, who always wears a similar expression to that, has good reason to look somber right now. His team has fallen 3 goals behind, having twice taken the lead here in the opening period. They went ahead at 3:34. Canada tied it up with Howe's goal at 4:20. They went ahead at 5:59. Hull tied that at 12:45, then banged in 2 more. Mahavlich got 1. It is 5-2 for Team Canada. What an exciting first period performance. Shadrin will take the face-off against Pat Stapleton. It'll be Bernier. He slides in there now. Bernier wins it to Stapleton. Look out! Loose around the goal. Cleared finally on the far boards for Mahavlich. In behind, too far for Stapleton. He's checked there by Shadrin. They bump for it. Back to the other side. J.C. Tremblay gulps it, and Sagankov cannot hold on. Clock moving now. Less than 30 seconds to play in period one. Here is Pat Stapleton beating Frank Mahavlich with Rezhan Houle. He was checked by Lebedev. Houle back to Stapleton. Now Tremblay, number 3. Banks it off the boards at center ice. Danuchenko has it. 10 seconds left now in the first period. Shadrin can't get around Stapleton. Sagankov at center ice. Bumped by Houle. Puck goes to Yakushev. That's it. First period's over. And an exciting 20 minutes of international hockey. After the first period, the score is Canada 5 and the Soviets 2. This is Game 4 from Vancouver. The Soviet Union has outshot Canada 12-11 in the opening period, but that's small consolation for Soviet coach Boris Kulagin. The only emotion he really displayed during the entire series was a bit of a chewing out he gave his players when Team Canada began to come back from that huge deficit Saturday afternoon in Winnipeg. He was quite animated and quite flushed at that time and angered. Now he looks like a very concerned man, understandably. The man he can thank for that feeling is number 16, Bobby Hull, with just a superb opening period performance against the national champions of the USSR, the World Amateur Champions, and the reigning Olympic hockey champions. And Bobby Hull now has scored 6 goals in the series. He has 2 assists for a total of 8 points, and of course has those 3 picture goals tonight at the Pacific Coliseum here in Vancouver. To begin the third period, Andre Lacroix will have Hull on his left and McKenzie on his right. Petrov for the USSR with Mihailov on the right wing, Harlamov on the left wing. Gusev plays it ahead to Petrov as we begin the second period. Mihailov trying to lead pass for Harlamov, broken up. Gets it again to Petrov. Play it back to Gusev. Mihailov, Harlamov. Inside the blue line, off the left boards. Left for Gusev. His shot deflected. Cheevers just saw that in time. Lacroix comes out to break it up and send Team Canada back. Too far for McKenzie, just over his stick. Into the corner. Bobby Hull has it. No icing on the play. Mihailov on the boards. Gets it out to Gusev. Now Harlamov. Being watched by Howe. Marty Howe, and now J.C. Tremblay, his defense partner, takes over. In the early seconds of period 2, Bobby Hull, Lacroix. Lacroix against Vasiliev could not hang on to it. Now Petrov is bumped and sent flying by Bobby Hull as the Russians break out of their zone. Over the Team Canada line, Mihailov with Harlamov in front. Off Cheever's stick, way out of his goal. Way out almost to the blue line. He backhands it the length of the ice. Now Gusev to Vasiliev. He is one of the 2 Soviet goals. Long shot, handled easily by Cheevers to Frank Mahavlich. Mahavlich into the slot for Rejan Houle, and now up to Serge Bernier at the Soviet line. Bernier got turned around by number 5, Yuri Lyapkin. Stapleton for Mahavlich. Could not control it at the blue line, watching for an offside. Shadrin, he's checked by Mahavlich. Yakushev carries on. Pumped by Bernier, the puck goes to Pat Stapleton. Now Frank Mahavlich against Lyapkin. Drop pass for Hull. Oh, and a save off the pads of Tretiak. Back come the Soviets at center. Lebedev swings inside the line. Knocked off balance. Leads Bernier. Now Mahavlich left side. Too far for him. At the center ice for number 11, Lebedev. Back checking by Bernier. Clubs Bernier as they go down the boards. No penalty on the play. Lee bumped there. Sagantoff against Bernier. And Bernier is getting a lot of the physical action right now early in period 2. Both teams begin to change on the go. Backstrom's out there now. This is Lyapkin at the Team Canada line. Off to the right boards. Number 15, the great Alexander Yakushev, being watched in there by Ralph Backstrom. Out to Yakushev, his quick shot is handled off the net by Jerry Cheevers.
Here's what Team Canada's... Here's what Team Canada's doing so well. Look at Bernier take Yakushev off the puck and keep himself between them and the net. This is the whole key to playing the Russian hockey game.
From the face-off, a shot directly on Jerry Cheevers from the point. Kuznetsov over to Luchenko. Loose in front. Picked up finally by Backstrom, ahead to number 11. Howe down the left side. A shot goes around behind. Gordie Howe on the right boards with it now. Play goes out of Soviet skate. Here's a break for the Soviets. Maltsev in the clear. Checks, drops it back, and it was wide of the goal from Vodunov. End-to-end action now. Vodanov, number 24. Back to number 3, Luchenko. Vodanov again. Center ice, and Neeson playing without a helmet now, and Neeson getting set. His shot deflected wide by Paul Schmier. Battled around the backboards by Cheevers. Out come the Canadians with Ralph Baxter. Backstrom and Howe. Check. Baxter closing in. Batted away finally, and the Soviets come back. Tremendous action here. Over the blue line. Around the check goes Vodanov. Maltsev fell. The puck comes back to center ice. Delayed penalty to the Canadians coming up here. Number 12, Kuznetsov with it. Tretiak's out of the goal. Kuznetsov was clotheslined by Rick Smith, but there's going to be a Canadian penalty. With the score, Canada 5 and the Soviets 2. This is game 4 from Vancouver. Number 18, Paul Schmier, has drawn a roughing penalty at the 4:08 mark of the second period. So the Soviet power play is on the ice now, centered by Petrov, Harlamov, Mihailov. Vasilyev on the right point. On the left side is Gusev. And now broken up by number 12, Pat Stapleton. At the Soviet blue line. Gets away from the check from Petrov. Being watched there by Gusev in the corner. Finally gives it up to number 2, Gusev. For Harlamov, the Soviets breaking back now. Right side, Harlamov. Being watched by McGregor, did a great job. Took him right off that puck. And it's cleared down the ice and over the boards for a face-off.
Well, McGregor certainly did come back. I was very, very surprised to see him go stride for stride and even gain on Harlamov. That Harlamov can fly, and he did finish the check.
Howie, can you believe a team with an average age of 30, a player as old as 46, can skate as well as this team's skating?
It's very, very hard to believe that they just performed so well when they had to.
From the point, that rolling shot was stopped by number 3, J.C. Tremblay. The Soviets must wait now to get onside as Tremblay moves it out. In the penalty, 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining for Paul Schmier's roughing sentence as Canada shoots it down the ice to Tretiak. Number 2, Alexander Gusev. Across to Petrov. Right side with Mihailov inside the line, and Harlamov feeds it back for Gusev. His shot is blocked by Cheevers. He was screened, but he got a piece of the puck. Vasilyev now winding up. That was blocked. Again, Jerry Cheevers. Still inside that Canadian zone. Pushing around the Canadian goal. A shot by Gusev is blocked by the defense. Stapleton goes into the corner after it. It is picked up finally and shot down the ice by Bruce McGregor. 40 seconds left in the penalty. Pass off the stick of Gusev. Played back to Stapleton now by J.C. Tremblay. Tremblay killing time, backing up, swings away from Alexander Yakushev and beats Ralph Baxter. And Baxter will go back and kill more time. Only 18 seconds left now in the penalty. Stapleton lobs it down the ice on Tretiak. Now only 10 seconds remain in the Canadian penalty. Soviets disorganized with the power play. Mark Howe along the boards wins the puck from Vasilyev. Hangs on to it. Now Tremblay, the penalty is over. The Canadians have killed the time. The pass down the ice too far for Schmier. With the penalty expired, they're called for icing. But what a great job, Howie, of killing it off.
That young Howe is something else again. He's just so cool under fire. He outfought 3 Russians for the puck over in the blue line. But I think I've noticed a change in the Russian power play. So many times Canadians have said, why don't they shoot the puck when they get it to the point? Obviously, we've taken away center ice. We're bunching closer together. And Gusev and Vasilyev had 5 or 6 shots there, and Cheevers really had to be good, but our fellows were cleaning house in front of the net to give them a chance to see it.
They scored 3 in this series from that point. Now a quick shot on goal from Shadwin was handled. Paul Schmier on the ice. Works the right side. Swings away from Shadwin. Center ice pass for Bobby Hall. Over offside as Lacroix was tied up as he crossed the blue line just by a step. Andre Lacroix. He is the second leading scorer in this series with 6 points. He set up 5 goals, and he scored 1 himself. Lacroix with McKenzie and Bobby Hall. Shadrin has it for the Soviets across to Lebedev. Hall breaks that up. gives the puck to Paul Schmier, number 18. Out for Liapkin. Liapkin leaves it there at the Canadian line. A good body check by McKenzie on Shadrin, and Paul Schmier takes over in the corner. Around past Lebedev to Bobby Hall, ahead to Andre Lacroix. Here's 2-on-1. McKenzie takes the right side pass. Back to the top, broken up by Liapkin. One defenseman back. He stops the play. But the Soviets are not pressing like they were in the first half of the first period. Liapkin ahead for Yakushev. Gave the puck to Bobby Hall. He shoots off the leg of Sagankov, number 7. Liapkin lost it to Johnny McKenzie. Out to Hall, screen shot, bounces. Trechek did not see it. Deflected off his chest, wide of the goal. Here's Yakushev, left side for Lebedev, and Rick Smith pumps it back to center ice. Down the board, Bobby Hull swings over now to his proper wing with Lacroix. McKenzie on the right side for Hull, broken out by number 10. Maltsev has it. Inside the line, Maltsev shooting, stopped by Cheevers. The rebound for Smith. Maltsev ties him up. There'll be a face-off with 8 minutes gone in period 2.
That Trechek was very, very lucky there. The shot hit the defenseman and went up in the air and hit him on the head. He didn't see it, Don.
No idea where it was until he felt it.
Watch that McKenzie finish the check. Time and time again, he takes out the Russian player.
5-2 is the score for Team Canada. All the scoring so far in the opening period. And he sit on the draw. It's back for Kuznetsov. That shot was blocked, and here comes Frank Mahavlich streaking down the left side with Rezhan Hul. Could not get the pass to him. Now Maltsev beats Vodanov on the left side. Reaches the Canadian line. Drop pass for Harlemo. Over to number 10, Maltsev. He could not control the bouncing puck. Here's a break for Bernier with Mahavlich cruising in. Over to Frank Mahavlich, over his stick. Mahavlich centers it out. Bounces in front of the Soviet goal, and they clear it on the ice. Fast breaking action both ways here in the second period. Rezhan Hul, number 5. Kuznetsov, number 12, gets it out. And J.C. Tremblay will chase it down the ice, not far enough for icing. To Mahavlich, batted away by Kuznetsov for Vodanov. He was tied up effectively by number 10, Marty Howe. On the boards for Rezhan Hul and out to center ice. 11 minutes to play in the second period. 5-2, Team Canada in command. Hul to Tremblay. Bernier. Bernier lost the puck there. And it's covered up by Howe, and Bernier has it again. Serge Bernier starting out at the Soviet line. Down the boards around Luchenko. Centers it out off the skate. Tremblay blocked by Luchenko. Back come the Russians. Harlemo to Maltsev. Maltsev turned around. His shot deflected as he went too far. Tremblay lost it there to Harlemo for Maltsev. Being watched by Marty Howe. Now Bernier has it bounce off him to J.C. Tremblay. Back down the ice it goes. This will not be far enough for icing. The puck dies before the red line. Vasiliev to Valeria Harlamov. Against Stapleton. One move too many. Lost the puck. They clear to center ice with now 10 minutes to play in the second period. 5-2 for Canada. Petrov's fast behind the high line. The Soviet offense disorganized now as Ralph Baxter breaks across the line. Shooting! High drive. Caught by the glove hand of Trechek. Warm tonight on the Pacific Coliseum. Warm outside in Vancouver, too, reaching nearly 80 degrees again today. Beautiful sunny weather on Canada's west coast. Right now, the heat is on the Soviet Union. Mihailov off Backstrom stick, gets it over on the left side for Harlamov. Back to Mihailov. He's a veteran of several World Championship Soviet teams. Vasiliev, number 6, with it now, and finally, play his whistle down for an offside.
Here's just a great play here. Watch Mahavlich outskate the Russian player. Look at that. The Russian player had 2 steps on him, and Bernier put the puck right out in front of him, just hopped over his stick. Great sign.
Ralph Backstrom, who turned 37 last week. The legs of a 17-year-old will handle the face-off against number 19, Vladimir Shadrin. Back it comes to Pat Stapleton. Ricky Lee away from number 15, Yakushev. Finally at the blue line, the Soviets are forced back into their zone. Sagankov, as Yakushev is checked by Gordie Howe and then bumped by Lebedev. The Soviets break inside the line. Shadrin got bumped off the puck. Lead pass for Gordie Howe against Lyapkin, and then Lyapkin got his stick on it just in time. Here is Yakushev shooting, score! And it's 5-3, and Alexander Yakushev, number 15, is now 12 goals the last 12 games against Canada.
The big fella can really shoot him. I think when it comes down to the final point when we asked somebody, watch this, it had to be tipped. Yes, it just hit a shin pad there, changed direction, and got by Cheevers.
With the score, Canada 5 and the Soviets 3. This is game 4 from Vancouver. Yakushev makes it 5-3 at 11:04 from Yuri Lebedev. Off the face-off. Here is Anison at the line, right side, getting away from Schmier. He goes off a body back to center ice. Kuznetsov. Pass deflected on the boards to Bruce McGregor. That Soviet goal, the only scoring play so far in the second period, a 5-3 game for the Canadians. Anison, Zhilichenko, back to Anison, away from Henderson, the pass to Maltsev. Cheevers will come out and smother it. There'll be no further play. Several large banners here in Vancouver depicting the famous chant and cheer of the 72 series. Niet, Niet Soviet, Da Da Canada. Face off, Anison. Finally cleared by number 17, Smith, down the ice. The Canadians will be called for icing. We have 8 minutes and 12 seconds of second period playing time remaining. 5-3 for Team 24. And after the second period, we'll be talking with Jim Pattison of the Vancouver Blazers about the WHA's new 5-team Canadian division this coming season. Inside the Russian zone, Henderson's taken down. No penalty called on the play as the fans boo. Mihailov, number 13, to Harlamov. Circling, left the puck there for Mihailov. Down went McGregor against Harlamov. Petrov trying to center it. Does. Loose in front. Oh, and the shot by Mihailov went wide. Schmier right in front of his goal. Steers it out to center ice. Soviets now begin to press again. Getting a lift from that third goal moments ago by Yakushev. Petrov inside the line. A pass behind Harlamov. Swept down the boards by Vasiliev to Mike Walton. To Bruce McGregor. McGregor now works ahead at center ice. Can't reach Walton with a pass. Number 2, Alexander Gusev had it. Played it down the ice for the Soviet team. Just over 7 minutes to play in period 2. Right side break now for Johnny McKenzie. Steps inside the line against Gusev. Could not control the bouncing puck. And it's ahead at center for Petrov. Harlamov gets a shot. Wide. On the boards is Vladimir Petrov. Valery Harlamov right in front. Cheevers lost it. Rebound over top of the goal. Mihailov out to the point. Trapped there by Gusev. His drive blocked by McKenzie. Here comes Mike Walton. Walton. Oh, and a great save. And a long pass by number 2, Alexander Gusev. Petrov against Rick Smith in the corner. Paul Schmier bats it off the boards and down the ice. Whistle is gone. Some stick swinging now from Petrov and from Rick Smith, but the officials move in to separate them. We continue to win face-offs, this Canadian team, with 30 of 43 won so far tonight.
Don, we've really stopped checking, and we're going for that goal number 6 at the expense of the defense. We're continually getting 3 fellas caught and not coming back quite deep enough in our own end to take the man.
They've given both penalties. Petrov 16 for the Soviets, and number 17 going in now is Rick Smith. the first offsetting penalties of the game, with 6:25 to play in the second period. There's Smith. They got sticks up inside the Canadian zone just as that last play was ending.
Team Canada penalty to number 17, Rick Smith. 2 minutes each for interference.
Interference is the call. 13:35 is the time. So they're playing 5 aside now. Bernier on the face-off against Shadrin. Shadrin shoots it through the corner. Marty Howe to J.C. Tremblay, being watched and then checked by Yakushev. Bernier jams in there for it. Along the boards, they whistle the play down. Yakushev has the period's only goal so far at 11:04 that has made the score 5-3 for Team Canada. They led 5-2 after one period. Shadrin with Sagankov, Yakushev, and Liapkin. Bernier, Marty Howe, Frank Mahavlich, and J.C. Tremblay. The shot deflected off the plexiglass to Marty Howe. Howe did not clear. Shadrin got a shot at it. Howe gets a second chance. Finally, it is out to center ice. Sagankov to Yakushev. The big fellow winds up in the center ice area. Across the Canadian line, dropped the pass there. Shadrin was blocked out of the play by Mahavlich. And now J.C. Tremblay feeds Frank Mahavlich. Gives it back to Marty Howe. Down the left boards, Howe jams it inside the Soviet zone. 5:40 left in the period. 5-2 for Canada. Here is Yakushev to Shadrin. Inside the Canadian line, J.C. Tremblay gives it to Serge Bernier, and he goes in behind the goal. Marty Howe, a minute left in those penalties. J.C. Tremblay moves up. Over the Soviet line. Swings around Lutsenko, and then finally it's picked up. Bernier comes back to check. The Soviets move ahead now with Yakushev. Sagankov taken down by Frank Mahavlich. Bernier in trouble against number 5, Liapkin, who wins the puck. 30 seconds to go on the penalty. Liapkin across for Maltsev, closing in. Backhand drive, deflected wide of the goal. Forced in behind there. Great chance for the Soviets. Against the boards is Pat Stapleton to Serge Bernier. 10 seconds remaining in those penalties now. Frank Mahavlich with Bernier off his skates against Vasiliev. Looks for some help. Passed it across. Nobody inside the line to take the pass. And it's shot back to Pat Stapleton. The penalties are over now. Here's Rick Smith back on the ice. Inside the Soviet line. His pass intercepted the number 16, Petrov. Petrov to Maltsev. Maltsev across the line, waiting, passes the shot by Petrov, goes wide. 4 minutes to play in period 2. Here comes Ralph Backstrom with Gordie Howe. Backstrom at center ice, at the blue line, closing in! Shot by Tretiak. As Backstrom got too close and Tretiak had the angle cut down. Here is Maltsev. Turned around by Lee, and now Marty Howe comes up with it, or Markow, number 11. Markow at center ice, lobbed it inside the line, the number 2, Gusev. Vasiliev to Petrov. Back into the corner. Gusev in front of his own goal was hounded by Howe and almost gave it away, but there's nobody there for the puck. Here's number 12, Stapleton now. Lacroix with him. Hard shot handled by Tretiak. Gusev gets away from Lacroix with a pass to Petrov. Mihailov with him. Dumps it across. Nobody there. Bobby Howe clears it out. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to play now in the second period. Vasiliev across to Mihailov. Howe with Lacroix. They break it up. And here's Bobby Howe shooting off Tretiak. Hard drive. Just got a piece on the short side. Here's a pass for Harlamov. In the clear, breakaway. Harlamov. Oh! Cheevers came out and forced him off the puck. Still in there. Petrov shot over top. Off the glass, into the crowd. Just a great play by Jerry Cheevers to break up Harlamov, who was home free.
Just look at that pass right up through the center to Harmanoff, and in he goes. Cheevers gets the stick out as he goes down. He didn't get the puck, but he got enough of the escape so Harmanoff couldn't catch up with it. Just a great pass and a great play. Look at that save again. Harmanoff went into the corner and threw it out in front. He certainly has to be sharp.
Canadian penalty coming up here to Ricky Lee. There is some fencing and shoving in front of the goal following that breakaway by Harlamov, and Lee gets the penalty.
Number 2, Rick Lee. 2 minutes for roughing. Time 17.
Don, on the previous play, Frank Mahovlich was hanging around in center ice for the long pass, and he drew the two defensemen back so our forwards could get it out. And this last play, Harmanoff was just back and forth out there. The defense would sneak a look at him. And the one time that the Russians picked up the puck and had a second to get rid of it, they just threw it out there like a bullet. Pretty close to offside, but just a great play.
Well, the penalties now, that one to Lee came at 17:07 for roughing, makes it 4 penalties to 2 against Canada. The Soviets have had the advantage in manpower in all the games so far in terms of the number of penalties called. Now their power play is on the ice. Centered by number 22, Vyacheslav Venison against Bruce McGregor, who wins the faceoff. Skates out to the line. It's held in there. Now J.C. Tremblay, as the hands fell, they clear it down the ice. An important penalty here, an important power play for the Russians, who, if they score, will be only 1 down. But Henderson there with some great checking takes it away and gives it to Pat Stapleton. And it's down the ice for Kuznetsov as Henderson has the puck inside the blue line. Feeds it all the way back to his own line for J.C. Tremblay. Tremblay to Stapleton. Ahead for Henderson, broken up by Kuznetsov. Here's Anisin with Bodanov. Into the corner. Anisin turns, centers it out, batted away by Henderson for Bruce McGregor. McGregor against Luchenko down the boards. McGregor has the puck, ridden off into the corner. They tie up in there. McGregor still has it, gives it to Paul Henderson. Here's from the point, Pat Stapleton, shot, blocked by Tretiak. Mihailov, with less than a minute to go, and the Canadian penalty to Ricky Lee, moves it up with a pass to Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov got turned around by Henderson. And Backstrom. Here's Henderson now alone, a long shot off the stick of Tretiak. Stapleton down the left board. Wants to Shadrin. Far side, Mihailov with Bodanov. He was stick checked. Backstrom comes up with it. Gets it ahead to center ice. Now 30 seconds to go on the Canadian penalty. 1 minute and 20 to play in period 2, and it's 5-3 for Canada. Yakushev away from Backstrom. Mihailov's shot is wide. Watched by Stapleton. Backstrom digs it down the ice again. Less than 12 seconds remaining now in the Canadian penalty as both teams change on the go. Yakushev is struck by Bernier. 5 seconds in the penalty. Liapkin inside the line, stick checked by J.C. Tremblay. He shoots it down the ice. Lee's back on, so icing will be called. But Canada has killed another Soviet power play.
I'm just sitting here, Don, chuckling to myself. Every time there's a race for the puck, I'm body checking an urge of the Canadian player to get there first. They're just coming up with another fantastic effort. And McGregor and Henderson certainly killed the penalty extremely well. And the last time on the ice, our club has been down considerably, but Backstrom, Mark Howe, and Gordie Howe showed some spark and turned the tide, and the crowd really appreciated it. Just a great effort by the two veterans and young Mark.
From the face-off, 50 seconds to play in the period. It is cleared to center ice. Rezhan, who battled to the heads. Agankov now for the Soviets to Shadrin and to Lebedev. Bodied there by Schmier. Carrying on is number 19. Down the boards. Into the corner again goes Shadrin. Good body checking by the Canadians in their own defensive zone now. They were not doing it effectively in the early part of this game, but have come on to hit well. Here's Yakushev off his stick to the short side, wide. Rick Smith backhands it down the ice, touched by a high stick, and they will whistle it down with 25 seconds to play. Boris Kurlagan, whose team fell behind by 3 in the opening period, now has narrowed that margin to a 2-goal deficit at 5-3. on the goal by Yakushev from Lebedev at 11:04 of this, the second period. Now 25 seconds remaining. Here's an example of how they're hitting. Schmier on Harlamov. Could almost finish your opponent by doing that, too. He's played well, Schmier. Smith joins him on the bench now. The face-off. Lacroix lost that one. Wins it the second time around. Held in by the Soviets, and now Bobby Hull has it with 18 seconds to play in the period. Off the glass. Hard drive by Hull. Rolls down the Soviet blue line. Lyapkin, number 5. Lacroix forechecking. Up to Shadrin. Ahead to Lebedev. Bumped by Stapleton off the puck. Tremblay takes over. 1 second left, and that is the end of the second period. With the score, Canada 5 and the Soviets 3. This is Game 4 from Vancouver. And the clock is acting up again. It's down to 9 minutes already as we begin the first 10-minute portion of this third period. They'll change ends at the 10-minute mark. All right, third period's underway. Gusev, in front of his own goal. They leave the puck for Frank Mahavlich. It comes out to Harlamov, 3-on-2 inside the line with Mihailov. Mihailov getting set to Petrov. Jams it, picked up by J.C. Tremblay. Back comes Team Canada. Frank Mahavlich over the line. Watched by Vasiliev, checked by Vasiliev, who gets the puck in behind the goal. Starts out the right side. Here's Gordie Howe for Frank Mahavlich. Backstrom also cruising in there. An open big pass, nobody there. And here's Harlamov with Mihailov. 2-on-2, back for Mihailov. Passes in front, no Soviet player there, and Jerry Cheevers pounces on it. Face off to Cheevers' left. Soviets make a change. Team Canada stays with that line. Shadrin with Yakushev and Lebedev. An effective line for the USSR in the series. Backstrom swirling in the circle. Now the official finally drops the puck. Stapleton to the line. Held in by Lyapkin. A shot. Drifts wide. Deflection there by Shadrin and almost went in. Here is Lee. Up the boards for Howe, too far. Sagankov lost it to Ralph Backstrom against Lyapkin. Bad angle, forced off in the corner. Now centers it in front. Oh, a great scoring chance there for Mark Howe. Just missing. Here's Ricky Lee with Gordie Howe. Lee's taken down. No penalty called by the Polish official. And the crowd here gets on Waldo Sapecki. The penalties have been very much in the Soviets' favor in this game. Here's Yakushev. Bumped by Gordie Howe as he finished off the pass. Down to Ricky Lee. The clock is stopped now. We have no idea of time in the early minutes of this third period. Lyapkin with Howe cruising there. Goes behind his own goal. Now Team Canada's captain, Pat Stapleton, has it. His pass to Lacroix, broken up by Shadrin. Gordie Howe back checking. Lebedev with a chance. Now Lacroix with Howe on the right side. Over to young Mark Howe. He could not get the shot away. Blocked by Sagankov, and the puck goes into the crowd.
Look at Backstrom with the puck here. He just makes a great play. He stops in the corner. He's headed off with the gulch. And look at him throw it right across to Mark Howe. And Mark gets it right on the stick. Tries to put it up high, but Trechek makes a big save.
He wasn't buying it, Trechek. He came across the goal mouth with Howe to block it beautifully. Now Maltsev in the Soviet zone. Back to the defenseman number 3, Luchenko. Centerized Bobby Hull, hopped over Mackenzie's stick. Luchenko, nobody there for the pass. Beyond Paul Schmier, going forward now is number 30, Klimov. On the ice for the first time tonight against Schmier, and behind the goal is Klimov. He could not center it out. Rick Smith takes over and gets it out over the line. Anderson can't control a bouncing puck. They send Mackenzie away on the right side. Inside the line, the Soviets clear it out with number 30, Konstantin Klimov on the ice. Right side pass. Maltsev almost bumped into Schmier. Didn't see him. Now here's Johnny McKenzie being watched by Luchenko. Carries on, centers it out. The pass hopped over Lacroix's stick. Plymouth to Anison. Shot out and into the crowd by Rick Smith. And I believe that caught a spectator. Time shows 7 minutes. The clock is in error, is malfunctioning. 7:06 is the official time, we are informed, in the first half of this third period. 5-3. Team Canada maintains the lead, going ahead 5-2 in the first. The Soviets won in the second, and that spectator appears to be all right. Little bump on the head. Here is Henderson against Vasiliev. Leaves the puck. Walt shot. Bad angle. Rebound. McGregor had it out of control on his stick in front of the open side. Now Petrov up the left boards. Vasiliev has a broken stick. The Soviets now get him one as they sweep down the ice. Harlamov losing it inside the line to Bruce McGregor, but he's alone out there at center ice against 3 Russian players, and Vasiliev comes up with it. Forecheck by Mike Walton drives Vasiliev back inside the blue line. For Petrov. Now Mihailov away to Vasiliev. Off a skate. Mihailov sweeps back at center. Now gives it to Petrov at the blue line. It hops into the player's box and is caught by backup goalie Don McLeod, who will play next season with the Vancouver Blazers right here in the Pacific Coliseum. 6:20 to play in the opening half of the third period. McLeod victimized for 8 goals in Winnipeg Saturday. You could not fault him on all 8, of course. The Soviets tested him severely. He blocked a penalty shot. That was the Soviet team's first win. Right now they trail 5-3 early in the third period of Game 4 here in Vancouver. Shadrin slides up now for the face-off against Mike Walton. Gets it over to Lebedev on the right side. Shots it down, then gets body checked. Into the Canadian corner. J.C. Tremblay ahead to McGregor. Left wide now for Paul Henderson. Henderson winds up. A long shot. Drifts wide. Ralph Backstrom against Lebedev. Overskates it. Number 19, Shadrin to Yakishev. Back to Shadrin. Bump. Carries on into the corner. Marty Howe coming up with it. He was hammered by Lebedev. The Afghan did not hold it in. There's an offside of the Canadian line. But the Soviet player really threw his weight around there, Howie.
Just about 2 minutes before you saw that check, Marty Howe took him pretty good over in the boards and give it to him. And you see Lebedev as they parted turn around and get Howe's number right here. And look at him sneak in behind the net. Gets the stick up pretty high. Holy gee.
What do you call that?
That's got to be high sticking.
The attendance tonight, 15,772 at the Pacific Coliseum. Enjoying this fourth game of the series. We hope you are right across the country. Now here is Liapkin getting it over on the right side. Shadrin plays it across the line, broken up by Pat Stapleton. He pumps it down the ice, and the Canadians are called for icing. Among this large crowd, many fans from all across Western Canada and British Columbia in particular, a group of 117 here tonight. From Prince George, B.C., they've traveled more than 500 miles from the northeast of Vancouver to watch this game. An estimated 2,500 fans from across Canada going to Moscow at the end of the week for the resumption of this hockey series. Now here is Pat Stapleton to Frank Mahovlich. He's got a goal tonight. Bobby Hull has 3. Gordie Howe has 1. Team Canada leads 5-3. Rejan Houle, as they contact the puck there at center ice into the crowd, they'll have a face-off. 5:17 remaining now in the period. Bernier with Houle and Mahovlich. There's the Premier of British Columbia, Mr. David Barrett. Maltsev, checked by Rejan Houle. Houle moves up with Frank Mahovlich. They bunch together there. Houle jams it inside the Soviet line. Got a body check from Luchenko. Carries on beside the goal. Now Ricky Lee has it. Turning away from Luchenko. Behind the goal for Frank Mahovlich. Mahovlich waiting, centering it back on the point for Lee. Cradles the puck there. Swings away from Klimov. Down the boards, is shot high. Blocked in front. Rebound! Oh, the great save! Off Houle by Tretiak. Here's Bernier across to the far point. Lee keeps it in to Mahovlich. His pass out blocked. It finally comes to Bernier. Bernier, the hole, hopped over his stick. Canada all around the Soviet goal. Mahavlich for Houle. Now Klimov starts out. Ricky Lee takes over. Waits for Frank Mahavlich to get onside. He did not get out in time. And now Bernier is punching away at Klimov. And the linesman moves in to separate them. With the score, Canada 5, the Soviets 3. This is game 4 from Vancouver. 4:18 left in the first half of this third period. 5-3, Canadians leading the Soviet Union. Paul Schmier behind his own goal. Away from Mihailov. At the blue line, a center ice pass for Gordie Howe. Across the blue line. Howe still with it. In front of the goal, a centering pass for number 11. His son Markow was broken up. And here's Harlamov. Harlamov with Mihailov. A lot of ice time for this line. It's gloved by Cheevers for a faceoff. A game recorder gives Pat Stapleton. Let's watch for a moment.
Lee just made a great play here to get the puck into Mahavlich. Look, Mahavlich control it and throw it over to Houle, and Houle gets 2 good shots at it.
Soviets win that face-off. Schmier behind his own goal to Gordie Howe on the right boards. Ahead now to Ralph Backstrom. Backstrom is going down in 2-on-1 with Marko. Oh, a great check there on Backstrom by Vasiliev, number 6. And here's Harlamov to Mihailov. Petrov, number 16, looks for it. It's offside. I was going to say the game recorder gives Pat Stapleton +3 on overall performance tonight. That's based on checking, passing, shooting, and overall defensive play for the Team Canada captain. Here's the check that Backstrom had to endure.
Gee, just a dandy. He was waiting for young Mark Howe to come up in the clear. He tried to stop and let the Russian player go by him, but that Russian had dead sights.
He says nobody hits in international hockey, Howie. Here's J.C. Tremblay in behind the Canadian goal. Gave it away to Shadrin. Bouncing puck for the Soviets. Harlamov took a swat at it. It's finally whistled down. A high stick caught it. The Soviet player down in front of the goal, Shadrin, and Cheevers is calling for the Russian trainer to come out. Shadrin got a stick high on the face, and a concerned and very sportsmanlike Jerry Cheevers motioned for the Soviet trainer, who has not made a move. He was scraped there, high on the cheek. Here it is again.
You can just see a shot of this here. Now just watch. The Russian player is just sort of tapped in the heel, and down he goes. The puck will come out of the corner.
He hit his face on the ice, but he skates off. Apparently all right. Here now is number 5 and number 23. The 2 players are going to be a penalty against one of the 2. McKenzie running into Lyapkin. And the Canadians are protesting, so evidently they caught McKenzie. And you hear the crowd's reaction to that.
There's a pretty good 2-hander right there, but look at this. High sticking. McKenzie gets the stick up pretty high, and I would say that's a pretty good call because that's about the 3rd time he's had a borderline infraction. You just don't do that type of thing in international hockey, and particularly when you're leading 5-3 late in the game.
Crowd incensed about the slash just prior to that. Now McKenzie taunting the Soviets in front of their bench. Now slowly swings away. Is making no move in the direction of the penalty box. They may be giving double penalties here because both gates are open. Yes, there are 2 penalties. Shadrin gets one.
2 minutes for slashing. Time 6:45.
Now, wait a minute. They have not given McKenzie a penalty at all. Shadrin gets the only penalty for slashing. You might have seen on the replay before the contact was made by McKenzie, he was slashed by Shadrin, and that is the call they made.
Well, I don't know. I
3:15
I kind of think we got a bit of an edge in a deal like that. But certainly that's it's quite a break for Team Canada, and I don't know what the referee was looking at, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Down?
Looked it up to warrant penalties both ways. And originally the gates were open both ways, but just the one Soviet penalty. And play goes right on with about 3 minutes to play in the first half of the final period. 5-3 for Canada. The Canadians with a manpower advantage. There's a bump by McKenzie on Gusev. Could not take him off the puck, though. Soviets so far are killing it, controlling it. Mihailov away back to Petrov. McKenzie now and Mihailov swinging sticks at each other. There's going to be a penalty. The Soviets will get even again on penalties. Delayed call is in effect. The Soviet goalie's out of the net. Open wing pass for Mikhailov. Shoots it back down into his own zone. Mind you, that goes in. That counts off a Soviet stick of the open net, but it was wide. And the Soviets now being checked by McKenzie, who finally wins the puck, and I think McKenzie will finally get the penalty he missed the last time. He chopped the Soviet player Mikhailov right in front of the Russian bench.
He's lucky he didn't get another one after the referee had called the penalty, but certainly the Russians played it smart. All they wanted to do was to kill off their own penalty. They'll get a man advantage for a much longer period of time now. If they could have just hung on to that puck till their penalty was up, then they'd have given Team Canada the puck, and they'd have had that full man advantage for 2 minutes.
It's called elbowing.
Here is the penalty right here.
That's the one they called. Then he swung at Mikhailov in front of the bench, and the referee did not see that. 7:30 is the time for elbowing to McKenzie, so the Soviets will ultimately have the advantage here. Shadrian has served some time. The clock shows 2 minutes remaining in his penalty. That cannot be correct. So for the moment, the teams are even at 5 aside. Gusev gives it to Mikhailov. Now starting up is Vasiliev. Back to Gusev, his defense partner, at the Canadian blue line. Here is the pass from Yakushev, too far from Mikhailov. Around the boards for Vasiliev. Paul Schmier has it. Schmier takes his time, feeds Rick Smith behind the net. Now in turn, back to Schmier. Being watched by Mikhailov. Coming up with it is Petrov, getting it out to Vasiliev. Vasiliev away from Mahavlich. Schmier takes a run of the Soviet player Mikhailov, and the puck is finally cleared down the ice. Penalties could be costly here in the final period as Canada protects a 2-goal lead, 5-3. Here is Vladimir Petrov winding up with a pass behind Gusev. Rick Smith takes over, gets away from Boris Mikhailov, feeds Frank Mahavlich. It's whistled down offside. Offside of the Soviet blue line. With a minute and a half left until they'll change ends, the 10-minute mark of the final period.
Here's some pretty good series of checks right here. Look at this. Frank keeps the stick down. The Russian gets it up just a little bit. Here's another good check. Watch Schmier. Good thing he didn't have two hands on the stick. The referee's right there, and he's let that type of thing go all night long, so as long as he's consistent.
Howie, the Soviets have 15 seconds to kill off their penalty, and then for the following 45, with McKenzie having a minute left in his sentence, they will have the manpower advantage. Coming out now, Henderson and McGregor with Stapleton and Tremblay. For the Soviets, Maltsev and Lebedev with Sagankov and Luchenko. This is Stapleton. Ahead for McGregor, could not get to it. Lebedev with Maltsev now inside the line, broken up by Tremblay. Tremblay to Bruce McGregor behind him. Back comes Lebedev. Lebedev, as the Soviet penalty expires, to Maltsev. His shot was blocked. Cleared off the boards by Cheevers and whistled down. They'll have a face-off beside the Canadian goal. And for the next 40 seconds approximately, with McKenzie finishing his penalty time, the Soviets will have a power play.
Our defense seemed to be backing up a little too deep, and sooner or later one of the Russian players are going to pop one home from the top of the circle. We have to meet the Russians as they're coming over our blue line, and I believe the main fault is our forwards are just getting caught too often.
McGregor lost to Shadrin. Lebedev bumps into the official, clears in front. Now McGregor had it hop off his stick as he overskates the puck, but covers up and comes up. Minutes of play in the first half of period number 3 here in Vancouver. Tretiak beside his goal, clears ahead to Sagankov. Right side pass for Lebedev with Shadrin and Maltsev. Inside the Canadian line, Shadrin shooting. Carl Henderson got his stick on it. It goes to the corner for Lebedev. Sagankov. Lebedev. Behind the net. They can't settle it out. Pat Stapleton ties up Maltsev. Now Lebedev does pass it out to Bruce McGregor. Here's a breakout for McKenzie out of the penalty box. One-on-one. McKenzie right side shoots. Blocked by Tretiak. Tried to clear. Couldn't get enough wood on it. Back comes Maltsev. Just seconds left in period 3. The first 10-minute part of it. Stapleton against Lebedev wins the puck. Pass behind McKenzie at center ice. McKenzie with Bobby Hull now on. The teams were full strength. McKenzie fell against the Gamecock with Maltsev. Fakes the shot. Goes in. And Lebedev has it as the buzzer sounds. First half of the third period. With the score, Canada 5 and the Soviets 3. This is game 4 from Vancouver.
When Johnny McKenzie hits like this, he's a real asset. No doubt at all. That just sort of makes the Russian keep his head up.
Didn't get quite enough of them, though, as McKenzie fell, but that contact is so important to keep the Soviet team off balance, or else they'll just free skate on you all night.
I think that's the key. As long as the Russians know when they get the puck, there's somebody coming at them, and when they shoot it or pass it, there's going to be bodily contact.
We have 10 minutes left in the hockey game. Canada leads 5-3. They've led since midway in the opening period. But they have not scored since 17:49 of the opening period. And now, as we resume the final 10 minutes, here is Bobby Hull with it. Getting it ahead from McKenzie. Now Lacroix. Across the Soviet line against Gusev. Stopping to McKenzie. Could not jam it down toward Bobby Hull near the crease, and Mihailov comes back for the Soviets. Mihailov leaving it for Petrov. Back to Mihailov. Oh, and he shot wide. Play is whistled down. There's going to be a hooking penalty here. The penalty appears to be against the Canadian team, but we'll wait for it. Johnny McKenzie gets another penalty. That's expensive.
Picks up Harmon out. Look at, he's got him right from the red line in, and he stays with him. Now, when that shot comes across the net, McKenzie is keeping Harmon out to the outside, who would have probably cut in and tucked it in.
It's hooking at 10:26 of the third period. His third penalty of the game, and McKenzie's sixth of the four-game series.
Don, I watched McKenzie pick Harmonoff up right at their blue line, and at no time did I think he really hooked him.
Here's Gusev from the left point now. Long shot deflected by Cheevers off the glass. Howe failed to clear. Into the corner, Stapleton golfs at it, tipped but not out. Vasiliev on the stick of Stapleton off the board, still kept in, now finally cleared as Howe makes a check on Vasiliev. Vasiliev digs it back over center to Gusev, and now Mihailov with it. The Soviets with plenty of scoring chances here to get back the goals they need. They trail by 2. Their power play is in effect right now. J.C. Tremblay to Pat Stapleton. Taking lots of time, now under pressure, gets it ahead for Mark Howe, steps inside the line and back out again. Over to Backstrom, and they work that 4-man long box penalty-killing unit. Off the boards, Howe leaves it now finally for Gusev as the Soviets wind up. Over the Canadian blue line. Arlamov had it blocked by McGregor. Gets a second chance now. Waits for Gusev to get onside. Speeds it ahead for Petrov. Mark Howe comes up with it with McGregor inside the line, 2-on-1. Bruce couldn't get it back to Mark. Play goes in behind the Soviet goal. This is number 6, Vasiliev. At center ice for Shadrin. Shadrin checked by Henderson. Arlamov against Stapleton and Henderson. They swing it over to the far open point. McGregor comes up with it and shoots it down the ice. No indication on the penalty time. The clock is not operating. We estimate 30 seconds of McKenzie's penalty remain. Here is J.C. Tremblay, as again, Canada works well as a penalty-killing unit against the Soviet Union. That power play of the Soviets, awesome in 1972. Quite ineffective by comparison this time. Here is Shadrin against Stapleton, back to Mihailov. Left point pass, Vasiliev shot wide. Round the boards it comes to Paul Henderson. McKenzie's out of the box, but no stick in his hand. Relieved by Frank Mahovlich, and it goes to the stick of J.C. Tremblay now. Another Russian power play has been denied. Shadrin to Vasiliev. Gets it over to Luchenko. Back to Vasiliev, playing games in front of his own goal. Oh, and Stapleton almost dropped that pass out. Mahovlich now brings it in with Serge Bernier. Shoots! And stopped by Tretiak. Got it low to the short side. And now Luchenko behind the goal. Sends it ahead for Lebedev. too far at center ice for Shadran. That'll be icing against the Soviet Union with about 6 minutes and 20 seconds to play.
Don, Team Canada can afford to get awful cozy with that puck. There's just no threat at all of the Russians moving in and hitting them. Pat Stapleton at one time just had the puck standing still, and as the Russian come to him, the Russian slowed down, so Pat was able to hang on to the puck as long as he could. And you can play pretty good hockey when you know you're not going to get hit, and that's the feeling that Team Canada has right now, why they're dominating it.
From the face-off in the Soviet zone, it is Luchenko ahead to Shadran. He gets it out to center ice. Paul Schmier puts it right back inside the blue line. Lebedev lost the puck to Serge Bernier. Bernier turned around, bats it down to the left corner, and Sagankov has to go back for it. Mahavlich charging after Sagankov. Slowed him up, left the puck there for Maltsev. Maltsev clearing rink wide on the left side, and finally back to center, but Mahavlich breaks that play out. The Big M at center ice, away from Shadran to Rezhan, back to Mahavlich, a shot, rebound, cleared by Shadran. Maltsev at the Canadian line, away from Schmier, dropped it back, broken up by Rezhan Houle. Houle ahead to Serge Bernier, down the boards, bodied by Luchenko, carries on, waits for a man to pass to, nobody in close, goes back into the corner again, finally lost it to Sagankov, and Luchenko has it. 5:45 to play in the game. Now it's center ice, at the Canadian line, Gordie Howe gloves it, brings away from number 7 Sagankov, banks it off his leg and down the ice as Canada changes on the go. Gennady Sagankov across to Luchenko. At the blue line, rink wide for Petrov, batted out to center again. Canadians so far holding the USSR at bay in the closing minutes of this hockey game. Pat Stapleton breaks that pass for Petrov up. He went down. There's no penalty called on the play. No penalty. Here's Harlamov inside the line. Over on the left side for Mihailov. Behind the boards, off the back of the goal. It's picked up by number 2, Ricky Lee. Ahead to number 11, Mark Howe with 5 minutes left. Lee down the right board, stops. Puts it out to Gordie Howe, he shoots. Kretschak holds on to that one.
You have to watch this. One of the few elbows I've ever seen Gordie Howe take, but it didn't take him long to get it back. Harlamov, as they were fighting for the puck along the boards, gave Gordie a pretty good shot right in the head. And look at Harlamov as a result of it, fixing the helmet. Gordie just took a look at him and went right back at him and said, "Here, whether you're Russian, Canadian, or American, you don't do that to Mr. Howe."
Just before that, you saw what the fans here in Vancouver felt should have been a tripping call against the Soviets. Off the face-off, it hit the goalpost. A hard drive by Johnny McKenzie hit the goalpost. Here's Howe. Oh, over top of the goal. Finally out to center ice. 2 great scoring drives there by McKenzie and Bobby Hull. Now Petrov shoots it down to the right corner. Gulped by Howe and into the back of the Soviet bench. And another spectator has been injured. Hard drive came out, and they're helping that young man out immediately. A little over 4 minutes to play in the game. Team Canada 5, the Soviet Union 3. In this crucial game, that barring a tie will determine which team goes ahead leading into the final 4 games in Moscow beginning on October the 1st. You'll see them all via satellite live. Crowd begins to chant. Shadran wins the draw. Is passed back too far. McKenzie fell against Luchenko, and Lebedev has it. Now McKenzie trying to work it ahead to Bobby Hull. Does. Hull against Shadran, shoots it down the right side. And Luchenko in behind the Soviet goal. Fires a lead pass out with about 4:10 to play now. Shadran at center ice with Maltsev. Lebedev, the shot high and wide. Rebound, a big one out in front. Bobby Hull is being held. And there's no penalty call. The official was a good 50 feet away over on the far boards. McKenzie gives him a glance and produces no reaction. Off the face-off, they score. Right off the face-off, the Soviets put it in to make it 5-4. With the score, Canada 5 and the Soviets 4. This is game 4 from Vancouver. Here's the goal again off the face-off by number 10, Alexander
Just
Maltsev.
wins the draw here. No one moves out on him, and look how quick he gets the shot away. Off the toe of Cheever's stick, on the post, and in.
His second goal in this series. It's 5-4, and the Soviets are only a goal down now. Here's Petrov shooting it down. Expects some pressure from the USSR now. Here's Lee against Mihailov, tying it up for a face-off. A quick goal has put the Soviets right back in contention.
Just a case down of someone not picking up the man and run right by him. On a face-off like that, someone has to move out and just stay with him and take him.
From the face-off, Schmier forced behind his net into the corner by Harlamov. A centering pass, loose in front. Cheevers hangs on. He lost sight of it for a moment in that maze of legs with Smith there and Mihailov, but came up with it. 3:31 to play. 5-4 for Canada. Line change now by Billy Harris. 16:08 is the corrected time of that fourth Soviet goal. Again, Billy Harris with no emotion, watching as his players make a change. He'll send out Tremblay and Stapleton on the blue line, along with Bernier and Houle and Mahavlich as the forward attackers. Petrov on the face-off for the Russians. Harlamov, fast shot. Cheevers just saw it at the last moment of the glove hand. That could have tied it up right there. Petrov has it go behind him, and finally here's Frank Mahavlich down the left side, inside the blue line, was checked by number 2, Alexander Gusev. Harlamov sending Mihailov away with Petrov now inside the blue line. Past J.C. Tremblay. Stapleton bumps Petrov in the corner. Mihailov back out to Gusev. His shot. Score! Tie game. The Soviets have come back to tie it up.
Just no one stopping here out at the point. The Russian goes in here, outfights two fellas for the puck, throws it back. 4 Canadians going out to screen the puck, and a good shot picks the bottom right-hand corner. There it is again, thrown out in front. Screen shot. Cheevers practically no chance on it at all. The Russians just out-hustling this, picking up the loose puck in the corner and getting it back out to the point.
Gusev from Mihailov and Petrov at 16:59. We've got 3 minutes and 1 second to play, and they're tied 5-5. Puck goes into the Canadian bench, and there'll be a face-off. Canada led 5-2 in the first period. It was 5-3 after 2, and now these goals by Maltsev and Gusev, just 51 seconds apart here in the final period, have tied the game. The Gankov goes behind his own goal, being watched by Baxter, and they get it out to center ice. Schmier gave the puck to Lebedev. Lebedev alone in there now, being watched by Schmier, bumped off it, and Mark Howe takes over behind the Team Canada goal. Gets it out over the blue line. Shevchenko for Shadrin, off the official. Back for Shadrin again to Maltsev. Soviets looking strong now, pressing for the go-ahead goal. Down to Cheever's doorstep, left for number 18, Paul Schmier. To Gordie Howe, through his legs. Shot from a bad angle, was handled by Cheevers, who shoots it to Gordie Howe. Now Howe over to Mark Howe, his 19-year-old son, inside the line. He was taken down. There is going to be a penalty. There's going to be a Soviet penalty. Tripping. Number 7, I believe, Sagankov, goes to the box.
As soon as Gordie come out over the blue line, he was looking for his son over there, and there's no doubt about it. The youngster had the Russian beat. The Russian stuck out his foot and tripped him. But it's the experience of Gordie coming across that blue line. He knew that Mark would be coming up in the far wing. Laid it right on his stick.
So Canada gets the power play advantage with a little over 2 minutes to play. Billy Harris is going to send on Johnny McKenzie with Gordie Howe, Lacroix Mahavlich out there now. Here's that fifth tying goal for the Soviets. Cheevers a screen. Gusev from the point scoring it. 5-5. Now some instructions for goaltender Tretiak from coach Boris Kulagin. Montreal on Tretiak's helmet.
This is quite a switch, Don. Normally, Team Canada has finished exceptionally strong in all the previous games, and that's the last 6 or 7 minutes, and they look to have pretty good control of this contest to the last 3 or 4 minutes. And once again, it's that Russian conditioning, I think, in this real hot Winnipeg arena that stood them in good stead.
They've only had the advantage of the power play 3 times tonight. They've scored once. Lacroix from the face-off. Mahavlich on the boards, battling for it. Lacroix joins in there against the Soviet player Petrov, and they'll force another face-off. What a finish we're in for. Canada with a power play. Sagankov in the penalty box for tripping. Lacroix gets it back to Bobby Howe. Gordie Howe! Oh, and Tretiak saw it all the way and made the catch. We now have 2 minutes of official time remaining.
Left in the game.
Team Canada has two pretty good hockey players playing the point.
Howe and Hull. Here's McKenzie getting it in front for Lacroix. He was hammered down by Luchenko, and the Soviets shoot it down the ice. Scores 5-5. Minute and about 40 seconds remaining now in the hockey game. Here's Gordie Howe to center ice, the Soviet line, almost getting through. Back to Bobby Hull, makes a move on Petrov, then works down the right boards, leaves it there for McKenzie. He couldn't dig it out, and almost a break from Mihailov as they try to beat him at center ice. Frank Mahavlich now in his own zone against Petrov. Gave it away. Here's Mihailov with a chance to kill more time and dump it down to the Team Canada corner with 1 minute and 10 left. Bobby Hull. Center ice. Soviet blue line. He's got 3 goals tonight, all in the first period. Hull passing it across for Gordie Howe. Howe shoots. Oh, it goes wide. Off the boards, an open side. Mihailov, a long pass to Petrov. They do not whistle it down. It appeared to be over 2 lines in front. Howe recovers for Canada and gives the puck to Lacroix off Petrov. McKenzie for Bobby Hull. Hull across the blue line to Frank Mahavlich. Mahavlich had to go behind him, and Petrov starts out. Only seconds left now. 30 seconds in the game. And a few seconds left in Sagankov's penalty. Valiesev shoots it down the ice into the corner. And Gordie Howe goes back for it. The score is 5-5. The Soviets appear to have killed this power play with 15 seconds left. Here comes Rezhan Houle down the side of Paul Henderson in front for Henderson. Couldn't get a shot. Still loose in there, but Sagankov's on the ice at full strength. Race for it. Here's Harlamov against J.C. Tremblay. Into the corner. It's all over. The Soviets have come from behind. We're on a 5-5 tie. As Team Canada failed to score with the last-second power play opportunity. So with the Canadian portion over, they finish up with a win each and 2 ties in the 4 games played from Quebec City, ending in Vancouver here tonight. So with the final score, Canada 5 and the Soviets 5, this is Game 4 from Vancouver.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here are the 2 players selected by a panel of Canadian and Soviet sports writers as the most valuable players of the game. For the Soviet side, Alexander Yakushev. And for the Team Canada, Bobby Hull. The presentation of the prestige sets of Series 2 Olympic coins will be made by Mr. Harold Wright, the President of the Canadian Olympic Association. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who wish to avoid the traffic rush, your game ticket stub will admit you free to the grandstand at the racetrack. Those of you that are driving, do drive safely. Have a good trip home. Thank you and good night.
Just a slight bit of confusion down at ice level because this is the end of the first half of the series. There is the special award for the most gentlemanly player on either side to be selected by the touring writers and broadcasters and television people from the Soviet Union. They're picking the most gentlemanly player on either side. And then, of course, we're having the usual selection of the most valuable player from either side. And you've just heard that it was Bobby Hull and Yakushev, but they were to go to two different places, and as a result, a slight confusion down there on the ice. But one thing we have learned, as Brad Selwood said in the second period, they can't go to sleep for a minute or less than a minute, because in the space of 51 seconds, the Soviets came bouncing back in that third period, just when it looked like the Canadians were prepared to sit and protect a two-goal lead. But at the 16:08 mark and then at the 16:59 mark, Maltsev scoring, then Gusev and his patented drive from the line made it 5-5, and that's the way we wind up.